The 49th regular meeting of the Caricom heads of government opened in Montego Bay, St. James on Sunday with urgent calls for regional unity, economic resilience and better connectivity across the Caribbean. In her final address as Caricom chair, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley urged leaders to embrace regional ferry and cargo air services as practical solutions to the Caribbean's long-standing transportation and trade woes.
If we cannot open up greater supply routes, if we can increase our domestic production, cognizant, however, that we are constantly at risk of the climate crisis, decimating that which we are trying to do in terms of open field agriculture, then we can begin to recognize that we do have the capacity to feed ourselves more. The bottom line is, however, that there are still too many gaps. And the major issue of logistics, I am happy to report that there are at least 2 CARICOM member states that are now in the process of looking to acquire cargo planes to help us overcome the very difficult prospect of the movement of goods within this region.
Motley went further to challenge leaders to find the political will to democratize travel among the island nations.
I anticipate that at this meeting at Montego Bay, we will have the presentation on the inter-island regional ferry from the private sector. And at this point, it is up to us to determine whether we have the political will to finally ensure that we can democratize travel through ships yet again in this region, knowing full well that with the federal maple and the federal palm, there were examples of it many decades ago, and that we have allowed ourselves to become purely at the mercy of air travel without recognizing that as islands in the Caribbean Sea, we have the ability to reach each other in good time and at cheaper fares than if we only use air to connect our region.
She has also encouraged the heads of government to craft a CARICOM validation mechanism to reduce and prevent the flood of misinformation and fake news.
We live in a world now where fake news, regrettably, is a key part of all that we have, and where the improper use of AI can sometimes stoke great fear and panic among our citizens. It is about time, therefore, that we as a region come up with a CARICOM validation mechanism in the absence of the providers of those platforms not taking the action to validate truth any further. And if we fail to do so, we put seriously at risk the stability of our democracies.
While the former CARICOM chair says the region is ready to support Jamaica's proposed Regional Justice and Security Framework Cooperation Agreement, she insists they have a duty to the people to provide safety and justice.
If ever there was a time for us to cooperate as we discussed today on matters pertaining to this, and Jamaica has put on the table a Regional Justice and Security Framework Cooperation Agreement, which I believe the rest of us are ready to engage in, because it is consistent with the Needham's Point Declaration of 2023 that was settled by the Caribbean Court of Justice Academy and the judges of the region. It is consistent with the George Bridge Declaration of November 2024 that was settled by the CARICOM heads of government, and it is absolutely needed by our citizens if we are to see safety be the primary concern of our people, from Jamaica and the Bahamas in the north, to Belize in the west, to Barbados in the east, to Guyana and Suriname in the south.